New York City never slept, but on the 46th floor of Morrison Digital Systems, the silence felt like a falling curtain before a tragedy. The glass walls glimmered with the reflection of a city roaring with life, but inside Evelyn Morrison's office, everything felt painfully still, as if the empire she built was holding its last breath. Evelyn stood alone, arms crossed tightly, eyes fixed on the 5 wide monitors arranged before her. At first, it was just one notification. Warning. Unstable activity detected. Then the next. Then an entire storm of flashing red alerts flooded every single screen. System breach, core data compromised. Critical failure. Internal functions disabled. Her heart plummeted. Not tonight, she whispered. Not when everything depends on tomorrow. Tomorrow was the day she would sign the biggest deal of her career, a merger worth billions. The moment Morrison Digital Systems would rise into the global arena. She had sacrificed friendships, love, and even her own health to reach this point, but now her legacy was bleeding out in front of her eyes. She slammed her palm on the desk. Damn it. The building hummed quietly beneath her, indifferent to her collapse. Outside, New York's skyline still glittered uncaring, unstoppable, while inside this office, Evelyn Morrison's world was burning down. She had sent the entire tech division home hours ago. She didn't want anyone watching her break. But then she heard something. Soft footsteps. A quiet rolling sound, wheels brushing against the polished floor. Evelyn turned sharply. A man in a navy blue janitor uniform stood at the doorway, frozen mid-step. He looked startled to see her there at such an hour. He wasn't tall, but there was a steadiness in the way he carried himself. Deep brown eyes, trimmed hair, face calm, too calm for someone who scrubbed floors in the dead of night. I'm sorry, ma'am, he said gently. Didn't know anyone was still here. Evelyn let out a bitter laugh. No one should be. Especially not me. Watching my entire company fall apart. His gaze shifted to the screens, the red alerts pulsing like a dying heartbeat. He stepped closer slowly, almost cautiously. That's not a normal system glitch, he said quietly. Evelyn blinked, thrown off. You know what this is? He nodded without hesitation. It looks like a coordinated internal attack. Her breath caught. Internal? No. Impossible. How would you know that? She snapped, more out of fear than arrogance. Instead of being offended, he simply placed a hand on the back of a chair and spoke in a calm, grounded voice. Because before I ended up cleaning offices, I spent nearly a decade as a cyber defense engineer. Silence. The kind of silence that rearranges fate. Evelyn stared at him, unsure whether to laugh or collapse. You're telling me you worked in cybersecurity? I led a division, he corrected softly. Until life rerouted me. She hesitated only a second, then stepped aside. Fine, if you can help, try. He sat down, cracked his knuckles, and began typing. Not like someone guessing. Not like someone improvising, but like someone returning home after a long exile. His fingers flew across the keys, bypassing layers of code, tracing corrupted functions, reopening sealed partitions. Lines of encryption poured across the screen like a storm draining into order. Evelyn's eyes fell on his badge. Jordan Washington facility staff. She had walked past this man 100 times. Never once looked twice. Never once imagined he carried a mind sharp enough to rebuild worlds. Jordan. She whispered, almost involuntarily, what are you seeing? His brows tightened. His breathing shifted. This wasn't done from the outside. He murmured. He clicked on an encrypted directory. Another, then froze. His voice dropped to a grave, steady tone. Miss Morrison. Someone inside your company did this deliberately. Evelyn's stomach twisted. Before she could respond, Jordan leaned back, eyes fixed on the screen like he was staring into the truth no one wanted to see. And whoever it is, he added, They've just started. Because at that exact second, a folder Evelyn had never seen before popped open on its own, as if the intruder knew Jordan was watching. And the message inside read, "Stop digging." For a heartbeat, the building felt like it was holding its breath. Then the entire 46th floor plunged into darkness. The whirring of servers stopped. The hum of the ventilation died. Even the city's glow outside seemed suddenly distant, like they had been cut off from the world. Evelyn's voice trembled in the pitch-black room. "Jordan, what just happened?" Jordan didn't panic. He didn't even move at first. He stood perfectly still, listening to the silence of a system that had been deliberately suffocated. "This wasn't a power failure," he said finally. "This was triggered." "Triggered? How?" "The building has an isolated grid." "It does," Jordan interrupted. "But whoever is inside your network also has access to your building's automation controls." Evelyn's breath hitched. "You're saying they can shut the building down?" "They already have." A faint blue light flickered behind them. Jordan's laptop screen, running on battery power. He moved quickly, the dim glow catching the sharp angles of his face. "Backup protocols didn't activate," he murmured. "Which means someone bypassed the failsafe." Evelyn tried to steady her voice. "Why shut off the power? What does that achieve?" Jordan's jaw clenched. "They're not trying to stop us." His eyes narrowed at the screen. "They're trying to keep us blind." Outside, the city lights glimmered against the glass. Inside, the darkness swallowed everything else. For a moment, Evelyn felt something she hadn't felt in years. Fear. Not for her company. Not for her reputation. For her safety. "Jordan? Do you think they're still inside the building?" Jordan didn't answer. He grabbed the small work flashlight clipped to his cleaning cart and clicked it on. A narrow beam of light pierced through the shadows. He scanned the hallway outside. Empty. Silent. Too silent. "We need to get to the server room," he said. If the main grid was attacked, the core systems might still be accessible manually. Evelyn hesitated. "Downstairs? In this darkness?" His tone softened slightly. "I won't let anything happen to you." He said it with the quiet certainty of a man who had protected people before. Someone who knew what danger felt like and what losing felt like. Evelyn nodded slowly. They stepped into the hallway, the single flashlight cutting a thin path ahead of them. Their footsteps echoed against the polished floor, making the silence feel even louder. The elevator was dead. Of course it was. "Stairs," Jordan muttered, heading for the emergency door. As they descended the stairwell, Evelyn found herself studying him from behind, the controlled movements, the awareness in every step, the way he constantly checked their surroundings. "Jordan," she whispered, "you move like someone who's done this before." He didn't turn around. "I used to do more than write code," he said quietly. "My team handled critical infrastructure security, government contracts, defense projects." Evelyn blinked. "You never mentioned that." "You never asked," he replied gently. It wasn't an accusation, just truth. When they reached the basement, Jordan stopped abruptly. The server room status light, normally green, was glowing orange. A color no one ever wanted to see. "That means restricted entry," Evelyn said under her breath. "It shouldn't be possible right now." Jordan's fingers brushed the door's biometric panel. It was warm. Someone had used it minutes ago. Jordan turned to her slowly. They were here. He pushed the door open. The cold air hit them immediately, sharp, metallic, sterile. Rows of servers lined the room like silent giants. Lights blinking faintly on emergency power. And then they saw it. Single workstation at the far end was still running, powered by an external battery pack. Evelyn stepped closer. Her pulse racing. There was a message on the screen. "You should have stayed in your office." Jordan's face hardened. He moved behind the terminal, analyzing the setup. This battery pack. It's not from your facility. It was brought in. You mean, this wasn't a remote hacker, he said. Someone was physically here. Someone with high-level clearance. Someone who walked in without raising suspicion. Evelyn felt her mouth run dry. Jordan. Who could do something like this? He turned the flashlight toward her. You already know the answer, he said softly. Her mind flashed to the username fragment they saw earlier. See, her throat tightened. Jordan. There's only one senior official whose user ID starts with those letters. Jordan's eyes didn't waver. Then we need to confirm it. He tapped a key. A new line of text appeared, faint, corrupted, but readable. Accessor. Evelyn staggered back. No, she wouldn't. Jordan didn't blink. Who is it? He asked. Evelyn forced the words out. Chandler Hayes. My Chief Systems Officer. Jordan nodded slowly. She didn't do this alone. Before Evelyn could ask what he meant, a heavy metallic clang echoed from the hallway. Someone had just entered the basement. Jordan immediately killed the flashlight. Darkness swallowed them whole, because whoever walked into the basement wasn't lost, wasn't confused. They were coming straight toward the server room. For Evelyn, for Jordan, or for the evidence they just uncovered. The darkness felt alive. The moment Jordan switched off the flashlight, the server room transformed into a vast black box, cold, humming, and suffocating. Evelyn could hear nothing except the faint pulsing of backup servers and her own heartbeat pounding inside her ears. But then, footsteps. Slow, deliberate, growing louder in the hallway. Just outside the server room. Jordan touched Evelyn's arm gently. A warning, a signal to stay still. He moved silently along the row of servers, positioning himself between Evelyn and the door. Like a shield forming in the shadows, the footsteps paused right outside. A soft creak of the metal handle turning. Evelyn held her breath so tightly it hurt. Jordan leaned forward, eyes narrowed, body coiled like a spring ready to break. The door cracked open an inch. A sliver of dim emergency light spilled across the floor. A silhouette appeared, broad shoulders, steady stance. Someone who didn't hesitate, didn't fumble, didn't seem the least bit frightened by the blackout. Jordan whispered so softly. Evelyn almost missed it. They know exactly where they're going. The silhouette stepped inside. Their shadow stretched across the cold tile, inching toward the rows of servers. Evelyn felt panic clawing at her throat. Jordan wasn't panicking. He was analyzing, observing, waiting for the right moment. The intruder took another step. Then another. Jordan moved even closer to Evelyn, bending down until his lips were near her ear. When I say move, walk behind the cooling units. Quietly. Evelyn clenched her fists. What about you? She mouthed. He shook his head. I'm not letting them corner us both. Before she could protest, the intruder did something strange. They stopped in front of the workstation where the message had appeared. And then, they spoke. A woman's voice. Calm, sharp, confident. Evelyn. I know you're here. Evelyn froze. Chandler Hayes, her chief systems officer. Her right hand in tech. Her friend. Jordan's eyes flickered with confirmation. But he didn't move. Chandler walked deeper into the room, her heels tapping lightly, a rhythm of intimidation. I warned you earlier, didn't I? Her voice echoed coldly. Stop digging, but you never knew how to listen unless it benefited you. Evelyn felt anger rise in her chest. Mixing with heartbreak, Jordan placed a hand on her shoulder, grounding her. Steadying her, Chandler continued, You have no idea how long I waited for tonight. How long I watched you take all the credit. While I cleaned up your messes. While you stood in front, smiling for the cameras. I was the one building the empire you bragged about. Evelyn clenched her jaw so tightly it trembled. Jordan's voice was a low whisper. Don't reveal yourself. She's trying to bait you. But Chandler wasn't done. And then you plan to replace me. I saw the documents. The board meeting. The votes. Don't deny it, Evelyn. Evelyn's eyes widened. Jordan noticed instantly. It's true? He mouthed. She didn't answer. Her silence was the answer. Chandler's voice sharpened like a blade. You thought I wouldn't find out? You thought I'd vanish quietly after everything I built for you? Jordan shifted slightly, calculating, timing, watching. Chandler took another step, her silhouette now only a few meters from their hiding spot. You should have remembered one thing, Evelyn. I'm smarter than you. That was the moment Jordan acted. He grabbed Evelyn's wrist gently but firmly and whispered, Now. Evelyn slipped behind the cooling units. Silent, her movements quick but controlled. Jordan didn't follow. He stepped sideways, instead toward Chandler's blind spot. She didn't hear him. Her rage was too loud inside her own mind. Do you know what you lost, Evelyn? Chandler hissed into the darkness. You lost your company. You lost your legacy. And now, Jordan struck the side panel of a server with his elbow. The loud metallic thud echoed. Like a gunshot. Chandler spun instantly toward the noise. Jordan shifted, kicking another panel. Another loud bang. Chandler cursed and darted toward the opposite row. Exactly where Jordan wanted her to go. Evelyn watched with wide eyes as Jordan moved through the shadows with perfect efficiency, redirecting Chandler like he was guiding a target without her knowing. He mouthed to Evelyn, Run. But Evelyn shook her head violently. She wasn't leaving him alone. Jordan gritted his teeth in frustration. He pointed toward the exit again. Evelyn refused. Chandler reached the far row and yelled, Come out. She kicked a rolling chair violently across the room. Jordan's eyes hardened. He knew this would get worse. Fast. Then Chandler lifted something metallic from her pocket. A flashlight? A tool? No. Jordan froze. It was a taser. And Chandler flicked it on. A crackle of electricity lighting her face. All right then, she whispered. If you want to play this game, let's play. Jordan's expression changed instantly. It wasn't fear. It was resolve. And Evelyn finally understood whoever Chandler Hayes had become. She wasn't walking away without a fight, because Chandler wasn't just after the servers anymore. She was hunting the only two people who could expose her. And in the darkness of that basement, Jordan knew the real battle had just begun. For several long seconds, the only sound in the server room was the ominous crackle of electricity humming from Chandler's taser. The faint blue sparks lit her silhouette in flashes, revealing a face twisted with betrayal, bitterness, and something far more dangerous. Certainty. Chandler Hayes believed she had already won. Jordan kept low behind the server stack, watching her every step with razor precision. His breathing was controlled, quiet, measured, the breathing of someone who had been in life-threatening situations before and survived them. Evelyn pressed herself against a cooling unit, trying to steady her shaking hands. She had stared down CEOs, billionaires, investors trying to crush her. But this was different. This was someone who knew her. Someone she trusted. Someone she lifted to power with her own hands. And now that person was stalking her like prey. Chandler slowly paced between the server aisles, voice echoing off the metallic walls. You think you can hide from me? She taunted. You have nitrogen monoxide idea what I've built behind your back. Do you really think I spent years being your shadow for nothing? Jordan silently motioned to Evelyn. Stay down, don't move. But Evelyn was trembling for the first time, not from fear, but from heartbreak. She had never realized how deeply Chandler resented her. Never saw the jealousy. Never saw the ambition twisting into something darker. Jordan scanned the room with quick, tactical eyes. He wasn't looking for Chandler. He was looking for tools, anything he could turn into leverage. His gaze landed on a metal maintenance rod clipped to his abandoned cleaning cart. 3 meters away. In open view. Too risky. Unless Chandler's attention shifted. As if reading his thoughts. Chandler's voice softened, maddeningly calm. You know what the funniest part is, Evelyn? She took a slow step forward, scraping her taser along a metal surface, the sound screeching like a warning. I didn't even want this at first. I just wanted credit, recognition. But you, she let out a cold laugh. You never saw anyone but yourself. Evelyn whispered under her breath, almost too quietly. That's not true. Jordan glanced at her sharply, urging silence. But Chandler heard something, just the faintest breath. Her head snapped toward the sound. Her eyes narrowed. Jordan reacted instantly. He struck the side of a server with his fist, clang. Chandler whipped around toward the opposite aisle. You think I'm stupid? She snarled. You're trying to distract me. But she still moved toward the noise, exactly as Jordan predicted. He slid forward silently, inching along the cold floor. One arm extended, 2 more. His fingers brushed the metal rod. Almost, the flashlight beam snapped toward him. Chandler had turned around again. Her voice sharpened like broken glass. Found you? Evelyn gasped softly. Chandler stepped toward. Jordan, taser raised. You're the janitor, right? She said with poison in her voice. The little nobody who wants to be a hero? Jordan didn't flinch. You have no idea who I am, he said quietly. Oh? Chandler sneered. Let me guess, Evelyn's new charity case? Jordan's eyes hardened, and Evelyn finally snapped. Her voice sliced through the darkness. Chandler, stop. Chandler froze. For the first time, her mask cracked. Her voice trembled not with fear, but with the shock of hearing the woman she once admired shout at her like a stranger. Oh, Chandler whispered. So now you want to talk? Now you want to acknowledge me? Evelyn stepped forward from her hiding spot. Jordan's eyes widened. This was the worst thing she could do, but Evelyn had reached her breaking point. You built this company with me, Evelyn said, voice trembling but strong. You were my ally, my partner. If you were drowning, I would have pulled you out myself. You were going to fire me? Chandler screamed. Evelyn froze. Jordan hadn't moved, but he watched their exchange like a soldier seeing the truth of a war. Evelyn swallowed. I wasn't firing you, she whispered. I was restructuring the board. I was moving you to vice president. I was trying to give you more power, not take it away. Chandler's face twisted. For a moment, she looked human again, conflicted, confused. Then the rage returned like a flood. Lies. She charged. Jordan didn't hesitate. He launched himself forward, grabbing the metal rod and swinging it with controlled force. Not to injure, just to knock the taser away. Crack. The taser flew across the room, skidding under a server rack. Chandler screamed in fury and lunged again. Jordan stepped between her and Evelyn, bracing himself. Chandler swung wildly. Jordan blocked, deflected, moved, his motions precise. Practiced, protective. Evelyn watched. Breath held as Jordan overpowered Chandler with nothing but technique and control. But suddenly Chandler pulled something from her jacket pocket, a small rectangular device. Jordan's eyes widened. No, don't. Chandler slammed it against a server console. The systems flickered violently. Jordan shouted, "That's a wipe drive." Lights across the room blinked, then began erasing. Evelyn's knees weakened. Chandler laughed through her tears. If I can't have the company, Evelyn, no one will. Because in the next 60 seconds, every file, every record, every secret inside Morrison Digital Systems would be erased forever. Unless Jordan could stop the countdown. For a split second, time seemed to freeze inside the server room. The tiny rectangular device Chandler had slammed into the console lit up with a pulsing red glow. A glow Jordan recognized instantly. A drive wipe detonator. A silent digital bomb. Jordan. "What's happening?" Evelyn whispered, her voice cracking. Jordan's eyes darted across the flashing indicators on the server racks. "It's wiping everything," he said through clenched teeth. "Data, logs, backups. Every trace of who sabotaged your company gone in 60 seconds. Chandler leaned against a server tower, breathing hard, eyes wild with a mix of triumph and madness. "You wanted the truth?" She hissed. "Here it is. When the board sees everything gone, every deal, every file, they'll blame you, not me." Evelyn felt her chest tighten. Her company, her legacy, her entire life's work being deleted in real time. Jordan jolted forward, typing rapidly into a command port. "I can stall it," he muttered. "But not for long. This device forces a deep kernel wipe. It's designed to destroy evidence, not just corrupt it." Chandler smiled coldly. "Smart boy. Shame you're too late." Jordan ignored her, fingers flying across the keys. Evelyn stepped closer, her voice trembling. "Jordan, can you stop it?" He didn't look at her, but his voice was sharp, urgent, alive with determination. "I'll stop it or die trying." Chandler scoffed. "Oh, please. You're just a janitor with hero fantasies." Jordan stopped typing. He looked up at her, calm, steady, unshaken. "No," he said quietly. "I'm a father, and I'm done letting people like you destroy everything." For a moment, Chandler's expression flickered with confusion. Then the room vibrated with a loud, electronic beep. Evelyn gasped as a timer appeared on the central screen. 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 36 seconds left. "No, no, no," Evelyn whispered, backing up. "Jordan, is barely half a minute." Jordan kept typing faster, harder, the muscles in his arms tense. "We can stop the wipe if I isolate the trigger signal," he said breathlessly. "But Chandler fused it into your root directory. If I break it wrong, the whole system dies?" Evelyn finished. Jordan nodded once. Chandler crossed her arms. "You'll never do it in time." Jordan ignored her. He opened another terminal. Fingers moving so fast they blurred. 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 31 seconds, he muttered to himself. "Come on. Come on. Where's the override key? Where is it?" Evelyn clutched the edge of a server rack, her heart hammering. "Jordan, you need help." "You can help by staying calm," he responded without looking up. "And by keeping her away from me." Evelyn turned. Chandler stepped forward again slowly, like a predator stalking weakened prey. "You think saving her company will give you a place here?" Chandler taunted Jordan. "She'll throw you away the second the crisis is over." Evelyn's eyes flashed. "That's enough, Chandler." Chandler smirked. "You never cared about anyone but yourself, Evelyn. You didn't care about my ideas, my work, my sacrifices. You only cared about who stood behind you, never beside you." Evelyn stepped closer, voice sharp as a blade. "You were beside me. Every day. And you chose this." Chandler's expression twisted, a war between regret and rage flashing behind her eyes. But the countdown didn't care. 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 22 seconds. Jordan's voice cut through the tension. "I found IT." Evelyn spun toward him. "What did you?" "The remote kill switch." Chandler hid it inside a dummy diagnostic file. He wiped sweat from his brow. "If I break the encryption in time, I can shut down the wipe." "Do it," Evelyn urged. Chandler lunged. Jordan reacted instantly, kicking a rolling chair so it slammed into Chandler's legs. She stumbled, catching herself on a server tower. "You little..." Jordan didn't stop typing. 0 hours 0 minutes and 16 seconds, he opened a heavy encrypted block layers of code. Cascading like a waterfall, Evelyn's hands trembled. Jordan? Hurry. Chandler regained her balance and sprinted toward him, but Evelyn grabbed her arm. Chandler whipped around. You think you can stop me? Evelyn didn't back down this time. You're not touching him. Chandler shoved Evelyn hard, knocking her against a server unit. Evelyn cried out, and that single sound snapped something inside Jordan. He didn't look up. He didn't stop typing. But his voice was cold as steel. If you touch her again. He hit another key with explosive force. You won't get a second chance. Chandler froze. Something in his tone unnerved even her. 0 hours 0 minutes and 11 seconds. Almost. Jordan's fingers blurred. Chandler grabbed another tool from her pocket. A metal pry bar. She charged. Evelyn screamed, Jordan! He hit the final key. 0 hours 0 minutes and 3 seconds. The screen froze. All progress halted. Evelyn held her breath. Chandler stopped mid-step, eyes widening. Jordan whispered, Come on. A soft beep. Then colon process terminated. Wipe cancelled. System lockdown activated. Evelyn exhaled a sob of relief. Jordan leaned back, chest rising and falling rapidly. Chandler's face twisted in sheer disbelief. You actually stopped it, but before the moment could settle, every remaining screen in the server room lit up simultaneously. A new message appeared, bold, chilling. Phase 2 initiated. Jordan's eyes widened. No, this wasn't the final attack. Evelyn's blood ran cold. What do you mean, Phase 2? Jordan looked at her, breathless, terrified for the first time. They weren't trying to erase everything. They were trying to wake something up. Because whatever Phase 2 was, it wasn't about destroying files anymore. It was about destroying them. For a moment, none of them moved. The glowing words on the monitor pulsed like a heartbeat. Phase 2 INITITD. Jordan felt the air in the room shift, thick, electric, dangerous. He stepped back from the console, eyes narrowing as he scanned the data flooding the screens. Evelyn gripped the server rack, her breath unsteady. Jordan, what does that mean? What is Phase 2? Jordan didn't answer immediately, because he already knew. He'd seen this type of system before years ago. In classified defense contracts, covert infrastructure programs, encrypted intelligence networks. A two-phase attack meant only one thing. The first wave wasn't the real threat. It was a distraction. Jordan muttered under his breath. No, this isn't a wipe. It's a redirect. Chandler pushed herself away from the wall, her face a twisted mask of disbelief and fury. This isn't me, she snapped. I didn't build a Phase 2. There is no Phase 2 in what I wrote. Jordan turned toward her, eyes ice cold. That's because your code isn't the only code inside this system. A shiver ran down Evelyn's spine. What are you saying? Jordan typed quickly. Windows opened and closed on the screen's logs, encrypted files, archive tasks. I'm saying someone else is inside your network, he said sharply. Someone who used Chandler's sabotage as a smokescreen. Chandler shook her head violently. No. I planned this myself. I set everything up, Jordan snapped. Then why is there a third encryption key? Why is there an execution signature that isn't yours or hers? The room fell silent. Chandler looked genuinely confused. Terrified, even. Wait, she whispered. What are you talking about? What third key? Jordan pointed at the screen. A new command line flickered. Accessor, Nextroot PRM. Evelyn's blood ran cold. What is that? She asked. Jordan's voice was low. It's not a person. It's a program. A very sophisticated one. Chandler stumbled back, shaking her head. No, I never coded anything with that signature. That's not mine. Jordan didn't let her finish. He zoomed in on the logs. Lines of code appeared fluid, self-modifying, almost alive. Evelyn stared at it, horrified. Jordan. I don't understand. He inhaled slowly. Someone installed an autonomous breach system in your network. A sleeper algorithm. It waited, watched, hid inside your servers for months, maybe longer. Evelyn's voice cracked. You mean? Someone outside the company? Jordan nodded once. This wasn't an internal betrayal. He pointed at Chandler without looking at her. Chandler was used, manipulated. Her code was the cover. Chandler's face froze. What? What are you saying? That I'm not the villain here? Jordan shot her a hard look. You're still responsible. You still tried to destroy her company. But the mastermind? He tapped the screen. That's someone else. Chandler stumbled backward, her anger melting into raw shock. No. This can't. The server lights flickered. Every monitor flashed. A new countdown appeared. Phase 2 activation. 0 hours 2 minutes and 0 seconds 2 minutes. Evelyn felt sick. Jordan, what is the second phase going to do? Jordan's eyes hardened as he analyzed the incoming commands. It's not wiping data. He swallowed. It's sending it. Evelyn's breath hitched. Sending to who? Jordan zoomed into the outbound connection. Foreign IP address, encrypted, untraceable. The kind used by corporate espionage rings or government black market buyers. It's a data exfiltration, he said slowly. They're stealing your entire intellectual property, your security protocols, your client archives, your patents, your designs, everything. Evelyn staggered. My God. Jordan's voice grew sharper, urgent, and once they have it, they don't just destroy your company. He looked her dead in the eye. They replace you. Chandler broke into a panic. Double quotes. No, I didn't plan anything like this. Jordan stepped closer to her. Who helped you? Who gave you access? Who sent you the first batch of code you used? Chandler shook her head frantically. No one. I wrote everything myself. I swear. Jordan's eyes narrowed. You're lying. Chandler threw her hands up. I'm telling you the truth. I didn't need anyone's help. Jordan stepped closer, voice soft. Too soft. Then who sent you the anonymous message 3 weeks ago? Chandler's breath caught. Her eyes widened. Evelyn whispered, Chandler? Chandler sank to the floor, her back hitting a server cabinet. I thought it was someone from the board, she stammered. They sent me a code snippet. They said if I ran it quietly, I could expose your weaknesses. Prove I deserved more power. Jordan exhaled long. Heavy, there it is. Evelyn's heart broke, not out of sympathy, but realization. She had been fighting the wrong enemy all night. Jordan stepped back to the terminal, his voice steady. If we don't stop the upload in 2 minutes, everything you ever built is gone. Evelyn nodded, her resolve tightening. What do we do? Jordan's fingers hovered over the keys. We fight back, he said simply. He opened a command line, but the screens around them suddenly flashed bright red. Synthetic voice echoed through the server room. Manual intervention detected. Locking operation. Jordan's eyes widened. Oh no, the system spoke again. Security seal engaged. Basement. Exits locked. Evelyn felt the floor tilt beneath. Her Jordan whispered, They're locking us inside. Because now the real mastermind wasn't just stealing the company. They were trapping Jordan, Evelyn, and Chandler underground, and they had less than 2 minutes to survive. Phase 2. The mechanical thud echoed through the basement like a vault ceiling shut. Evelyn flinched as the server room door's bolts slammed into place heavy. Metallic, final. A chilling automated message filled the room. All exits sealed. Unauthorized access detected. Phase 2 in progress. Jordan's eyes lifted slowly from the screen. And Evelyn saw something she hadn't seen in him all night. Fear. Real instinctive fear. Jordan. What does that mean? She whispered. He exhaled shakily. It means the person controlling this system no longer wants us interrupting their plan. Chandler stood stiff against the far wall, breathing hard. Her earlier rage had melted into pure dread. They can't keep us locked down here, she said, her voice trembling. That's illegal. Jordan cut her off. This isn't about what's legal. This is about what's already been set in motion. Evelyn felt a hot panic rise in her chest. Jordan, we only have, he checked the countdown, 0 hours, 1 minute and 41 seconds. Less than 2 minutes, he finished grimly. Chandler grabbed her hair with shaking fists. Oh God, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't know. Jordan's tone sharpened. Enough. We don't have time for guilt. He spun back to the terminal. Evelyn forced herself to breathe, forced her body to move, to think. What can I do? She asked. Jordan's fingertips hovered over the keyboard. Look around. Anything with wiring, anything with a power relay, anything I can bypass. Evelyn scanned the room. Rows of servers, cabling, cooling units. The emergency power converter box mounted near the far wall. There. She pointed. The manual override. Jordan's eyes snapped to it. Yes, he breathed. If I can cut the power to the uplink, the upload will freeze. Chandler balked. But doesn't that mean the building goes completely dark? Jordan nodded. It's either that, or let someone steal every secret this company ever created. He started moving fast, crossing the room with purpose. Evelyn followed close, refusing to leave his side. You know exactly how to do this, she whispered. Jordan gave a small, almost sad smile. I told you. Tech was my old life. Chandler's voice cracked behind them. But if you shut the uplink power, there's a surge. A high voltage discharge. It could shock you. Kill you. Jordan didn't turn around. I've handled worse. He knelt by the converter box, inspecting its circuits. 0 hours, 1 minute and 12 seconds. We're running out of time. Evelyn said, voice tight. Jordan nodded. Double quotes Evelyn. I need you to do something important. She leaned in. Anything. Hold the top relay bar when I disconnect the bottom wiring, he said. If I don't stabilize it, the surge will fry the whole line. Evelyn's heart thudded painfully. You want me to touch a live relay? Jordan met her eyes. I won't let it hurt you. But if I do this alone, I can't keep it stable. We'll lose everything. Evelyn's breath trembled, but she nodded anyway, because she trusted him. More than she trusted anyone in years. She placed her hands on the relay bar, cold, metallic, trembling under her grip. Jordan's fingers moved fast. Precise, fearless. 0 hours, 0 minutes and 57 seconds. Talk to me, Evelyn whispered. Her voice barely audible. Jordan didn't look up. Stay strong, he murmured. No matter what happens, don't let go. Chandler sank to the floor, hugging her knees. This can't be happening. It can't? Jordan pulled out a small insulated tool from his work belt, something he likely used for elevator maintenance or lighting repairs. During night shifts, he wedged it between the bottom wires. Okay. 1. The converter crackled violently. 2. Evelyn squeezed the relay bar so tightly her fingers numbed. Jordan took a breath. 3. He ripped the wires free. A violent spark exploded across the box. A bolt of electricity shot upward. Evelyn screamed, but Jordan lunged forward, slamming his shoulder against the converter door to shield her. Sparks flew everywhere, lighting the room in blinding flashes. Chandler ducked behind a server stack, covering her head. The lights flickered wildly. Then a deep electrical boom shook the walls, and the entire server room plunged into absolute darkness. Not dim. Not flickering dead for 3 heartbeats. None of them breathed. Then Jordan's voice emerged from the darkness, rough, shaken, but alive. "Evelyn, are you okay?" She let out a breath she didn't realize she was holding. "Yes," she whispered. "Jordan, yes. I'm okay." A soft laugh of relief left him. Then something else happened. A tiny red LED display battery, powered, flickered back to life on the central console. The countdown had stopped. Uplink connection terminated. Phase 2. Failed data exfiltration. Evelyn sagged to her knees. Chandler stared in disbelief. Jordan dropped beside the converter, chest heaving. "It worked," he whispered. It actually worked. But before they could celebrate, a low humming sound rumbled through the basement ventilation system. Jordan's head snapped up. "No. That's not right." Evelyn's eyes widened. "What now?" Jordan listened closely, and the dread in his face was unmistakable. "That's not the servers." He swallowed. "That's the building responding to the breach." Evelyn's voice cracked. "Responding how?" Jordan met her eyes. "They've triggered the fire suppression system." Beat, but not the water one. Another beat. His voice dropped to a whisper. "They triggered the gas system." Evelyn's heart stopped. Chandler screamed because gas suppression didn't put out fires quietly. It sucked the oxygen out of the room, because the next system wasn't meant to protect equipment. It was meant to eliminate anything breathing inside that basement, and they had less than 1 minute before the gas filled the room. A cold mechanical hiss slithered through the server room vents. At first, it was faint, barely noticeable. Then it grew deeper, fuller, like the slow inhale of something monstrous waking up. Jordan's entire body went rigid. Evelyn felt her stomach drop. Chandler pressed herself against a server rack, shaking uncontrollably. Jordan spoke first, his voice low, urgent, deadly serious. They activated the Energen suppression system. Evelyn knew the term. Every high-security facility had one. Fire suppression gas. Odorless, colorless, silent. It didn't poison you. It stole the oxygen around you. Jordan's expression darkened. And once the oxygen level drops below 12%, you lose consciousness in seconds. Chandler panicked instantly, clutching her throat even though the gas hadn't fully deployed yet. "We're going to die. We're going to die." "Stop!" Jordan snapped, louder than she had ever heard him. The room fell silent except for the deepening hiss from the vents. Jordan's breath was tight, controlled. "If you panic, you breathe faster. That'll kill you even quicker." Evelyn forced herself to inhale slowly, even though fear gripped every bone in her body. "Jordan, what do we do?" she whispered. He swept his flashlight toward the corners of the room. "We need to get out. Now." Evelyn gestured helplessly toward the sealed metal door. "It's locked." "You heard the system security seal engaged." Jordan shook his head. "I can break an electrical lockdown, but not a manual gas purge at the same time." Chandler collapsed to the floor again. "This wasn't supposed to happen." "I didn't mean..." Jordan knelt down in front of her, gripping her shoulders firmly. "Chandler, listen to me." Her eyes darted wildly. Jordan's voice softened, not with kindness, but necessity. "You want to live? I need your brain. Now. You know this building's infrastructure better than anyone." Chandler froze. Then, faintly, nodded. Jordan stood up quickly. "Server room vents are controlled by the auxiliary panel. We need to disable them." "That panel's outside," Chandler croaked, pointing weakly. "In the sub-hallway." "We can't breathe out there for long," Evelyn murmured. "We won't need long. Jordan replied. We just need seconds. The gas hiss deepened again. Jordan looked up sharply. It started. He grabbed Evelyn's hand. His grip was tight, grounding her, steadying her heart's frantic rhythm. Stay with me, he whispered. I'm not leaving you, she answered instantly. Something flickered in his eyes, a quiet, momentary vulnerability. Then he snapped back to survival mode. On 3, we run to the hall. Look for a green panel with yellow stripes. Chandler stumbled to her feet. Jordan, there's a problem. What problem? She looked him dead in the eye. The auxiliary panel needs 2 people to override. One person can't reach both switches at the same time. Jordan paused, then nodded slowly, accepting it. So we do it together. Chandler blinked. You'd trust me? After everything I've done? Evelyn answered for him. This is bigger than betrayal now. We need each other to survive. Chandler swallowed hard, emotions battling inside her. Jordan raised 3 fingers. 1. Evelyn inhaled deeply, lungs already feeling tighter. 2. The hiss became a roar. 3. Jordan threw the door release lever. Bang! The reinforced seals disengaged. They sprinted into the hallway, gas already fogging the air with a cold, tingling numbness. Evelyn coughed, a sharp pain slicing through her chest. Jordan! He grabbed her arm, pulling her forward. There! The auxiliary panel. A metal box mounted on the wall, green with yellow hazard stripes. Chandler rushed to one side of it. I'll take the left switch. Jordan took the right. On my signal, Evelyn saw it first. Warning light inside the panel flickered. Jordan, what is that? He paled. It's a safety lock. Chandler's voice cracked. It won't allow a shutdown unless a 3rd key is inserted. Evelyn's heart sank. What key? Chandler pointed upward, to the emergency breaker unit. Above us. A tiny red switch embedded high in the ceiling vent. Evelyn whispered in horror. No one can reach that. Jordan clenched his jaw. I can. He dragged a rolling maintenance stool under the vent. Chandler. Evelyn, hold your switches. Don't move, no matter what. Evelyn stepped up to her side of the panel. Jordan, hurry please. Oxygen was dropping fast. Her vision blurred at the edges. Jordan climbed onto the stool. Wobbling, reaching up. Too high. He stretched further, fingers brushing the edge of the breaker. Chandler screamed, Jordan, you're falling. He pushed harder. The stool tipped. Evelyn gasped. Jordan leaped, slammed his hand upward. Click. The emergency breaker snapped down. Chandler yanked her switch. Evelyn pulled hers. Jordan hit the floor hard, rolling. The gas hissing stopped for a moment. Absolute silence. Then fresh air flooded through the vents, a rush of oxygen pouring into their burning lungs. Evelyn collapsed beside Jordan. He coughed hard, struggling to breathe. She grabbed his face in both hands. Jordan, look at me. Stay with me. His eyes opened glassy, unfocused at first. Then he smiled weakly. Told you. I wouldn't let anything happen to you. Chandler sank to the floor, sobbing. The crisis was over, but the danger was not. From behind them, the intercom crackled to life. A voice distorted, calm, terrifyingly familiar filled the hallway. You survived phase 2. Jordan froze. Evelyn's blood went cold. Chandler's eyes widened in horror. Good. The voice paused. Because phase 3 was designed for survivors. Because the mastermind wasn't done. Not even close. Phase 3 wasn't about data or systems or sabotage. Phase 3 was personal. The intercom crackled with static. Then that voice, the one none of them recognized, filled the basement with a cold, calculated calm. Phase 3 begins now. Jordan's spine stiffened. Evelyn grabbed his arm. Chandler pressed herself against the wall, shaking violently. Jordan spoke first, voice low. That's not a program. Evelyn swallowed hard. You mean? He nodded. A human. The real mastermind. The intercom crackled again. You've done well, Jordan Washington. Very well. You were always the variable I couldn't predict. Jordan froze. Evelyn turned toward him sharply. Jordan? He knows your name. Chandler whispered, horrified. You said someone used my code as a smokescreen. This person... They planned everything. Jordan's breathing changed. Not fear. Recognition. Evelyn saw it immediately. You've heard that voice before. Jordan didn't answer. But his silence said it all. The intercom continued. You should have stayed in the shadows. Like you did all those years. Evelyn's heartbeat thundered in her ears. Jordan, she whispered, who is this? Jordan clenched his fists. A ghost. Someone I thought disappeared years ago. The voice echoed once more. Come to the loading bay, Jordan. Bring the CEO. And the traitor. The line went dead. Chandler sobbed. I can't go out there. What if it's a trap? What if he kills us? Jordan turned to her. If we stay here, we die. If we go out there, we have a chance. Evelyn stepped forward. Jordan? If this person is from your past, he raised a hand gently. I'll protect you. Both of you. But we have to move. The walk through the DRK, they moved cautiously through the basement corridor. Lit only by dim red emergency lights, every sound felt amplified, every echo a threat. Chandler walked behind them, shaking uncontrollably. Evelyn stayed close to Jordan's side, watching him like he was the only anchor holding her to sanity. When they reached the loading bay doors, Jordan ordered, "Stay behind me." He pushed the door open. A single ED light illuminated the center of the vast loading area, and under that light stood a man tall, perfectly still. Hands clasped, behind his back like a commander inspecting his troops. His face hidden in the half-shadow. Evelyn whispered, "Who is he?" Jordan exhaled slowly. Marcus Hawley. The name hit him like a memory he'd tried to bury. Chandler blinked. Who is that? Jordan stepped forward. A former cyber defense engineer. Brilliant. Dangerous. He and I worked together years ago. Until he crossed a line I couldn't. Marcus's voice echoed calmly. You turned me in, Jordan. You destroyed my career. Jordan's jaw tightened. You were sabotaging government servers. Selling access. Endangering lives. Marcus smirked. And look where ethics got you cleaning floors for a living. Evelyn felt anger rise inside her. Is that why you attacked my company? To get revenge on Jordan? Marcus laughed softly. No, Evelyn. I attacked your company because your network holds the encryption keys to a global defense database. A system worth billions. Evelyn's stomach churned. So all of this, Marcus nodded, Chandler's jealousy. Your internal chaos. Jordan's past. All perfect variables for my plan. Chandler collapsed to her knees. You used me. Marcus didn't even look at her. Of course I did. You were desperate. Predictable. Jordan took a step closer. Let them go, Marcus. This is between you and me. Marcus's smile widened. Oh, Jordan. Always pretending to be the hero. He pulled out a small black detonator. Evelyn gasped. Chandler screamed. Jordan moved instantly, shoving. Evelyn behind him. Marcus raised the detonator slowly. Phase 3. Was the building itself. Jordan's mind snapped into focus. He lunged forward. Marcus pressed the trigger. Click. Nothing happened. Marcus froze. Jordan held up the battery pack from the detonator. The one he had spotted earlier on the ground and quietly pocketed during their walk. You always underestimate me. Jordan said. Marcus threw the useless device aside and charged at him. The two men collided with explosive force. Jordan blocked a punch, landed a hit to Marcus's ribs. Marcus retaliated, grabbing Jordan's shirt, slamming him against a crate. Evelyn screamed, "Jordan!" Jordan fought back, sharp, trained movements, not random swings. This wasn't just a janitor. This was a man who'd once lived in war inside digital and real battlefields. Marcus stumbled. Jordan tackled him. They crashed onto the floor. Marcus grabbed a metal rod and swung. Jordan ducked, grabbed his arm, twisted. The rod clattered away. "Give it up, Marcus." Jordan shouted. Marcus spat blood. "I never give up." He reached for a second tool. Jordan reacted faster. He pinned Marcus to the ground with sheer strength and precision. Marcus growled, "You think you won?" Jordan looked down at him, breathing hard. Double quotes, "No. I think you lost the moment you hurt people who didn't deserve it." Security sirens blared in the distance. The external lockdown finally overridden by emergency crews. Marcus's expression shifted from rage to dread. This isn't over. Jordan tightened his grip. "It is now." He forced Marcus's hands behind his back just as security forces stormed the room. They tackled Marcus, cuffing him, dragging him away, screaming threats at Jordan. Evelyn rushed to Jordan, dropping to her knees in front of him. "Jordan, are you hurt?" He shook his head gently, exhausted. "I'm okay." Chandler sobbed uncontrollably nearby as security escorted her away too, her fate different from Marcus's. But her consequences finally catching up. Evelyn cupped Jordan's face. "You saved my life. My company. Everything." Jordan gave a weak smile. "You would have done the same for me." She shook her head. "No. Only you could have done this." For the first time in years, Evelyn Morrison felt safe, not because the danger was gone, but because she had finally found someone who stood beside her for who she was, not what she had built. Jordan looked at her gently. "You're stronger than you think, Evelyn. And you," she whispered, "are more than you believe." He helped her stand. They walked out of the loading bay together, two survivors of a war neither asked for, but both won. Side by side.